Reptilian shapeshifters are behind ISIS, the Federal Reserve and Sesame Street. This is the False Flag Nation podcast.
And welcome to a special emergency broadcast of the False Flag Nation podcast, the podcast where we delve into conspiracy theories, the occult, and all things esoteric. My name is Joe DeMarco, and joining me as always is my co-host, Mr. William Revere.
Hey guys.
Now, if you're a first-time listener, this is going to be a bit of a shock for you. You're jumping into the deep end of the pool here. This is going to be a weird one. We're talking about the bizarre, occult, satanic opening ceremony of the massive train tunnel they just built in Switzerland. This has been all over the internet. Stories exploding. But it's just so weird that we felt it was necessary to put out a special episode just for YouTube to cover this story. As I said, this is going to be pretty extreme if you are a first-time listener. If you're not accustomed to a prolonged aerial truth bombing like this is going to be kind of an adjustment for you. But stay with us here, all right?
Yeah, this could be nuclear truth bomb territory here.
This is a bunker-busting truth nuke here. But Will, I think we just got to dive right into this. This is all over the internet. This just happened like 5 days ago.
Right.
In it's called the Gotthard base tunnel.
And you know what? Before we even jump into this, yeah. I think it's key to understand that this isn't just fringe news agencies discussing this topic.
Oh, no.
This is all over the internet because, as you will see, and as you should all check out the videos, this is in-your-face, clear Illuminati symbolism, and on a scale that we have never seen before. Like we said before, we've had the Super Bowl shows where there's some slight symbolism, the Katy Perry show, the Beyonce hand symbols, but this is like uncharted territory.
I mean, there was a big ruckus about the Super Bowl, the Olympics opening ceremony in London, right. 2012. A lot of people were talking about that. I know Vigilant Citizen had an article about that a few years ago. But this is just so vulgar and overt and in your face. There's no possible way to rationalize this.
Right. Even the most bizarre artiste, if you will, cannot make some claim that this is just himself expressing, human nature or whatever bullshit excuse that he's going to come up with. This is blatant satanic ritual practice.
Okay. So for those of you who haven't figured out what we're talking about yet, a couple days ago on June 1st, 2016, there was the grand opening of the Gotthard base tunnel in Switzerland. And what this is, it is the world's largest underground tunnel for trains. That it's under the Alps in Switzerland. It took 17 years and cost 11 billion euros to build this.
It's incredible.
It's massive. One of the largest engineering projects of all time. This is objectively a major accomplishment, a huge step forward for infrastructure and a huge engineering feat. Because of this tunnel, it reportedly takes only about 30 minutes to get from Geneva to Milan, Italy, that's pretty cool.
That's incredible.
Previously, you had to zigzag through the mountains. It took hours. It was terrible. But now, this is a pretty cool accomplishment. So what better way to commemorate this historic achievement than a bizarre hour-long so-called piece of performance art with a giant prancing Baphomet goat demon people prancing about a stage in front of a giant Stargate with worshippers and zombies and giant baby-headed angel topless women parading around. Like, really, I can't think of any other way. I mean, maybe a ribbon-cutting ceremony, but no, I think I'd definitely go with this if I was the project manager for this event here.
And it's complete. The finale scene is complete with a Stargate-looking device and this all-seeing eye, along with real, true hellfire and brimstone in the background of CGI creation that they all spent God knows how much on. I mean, it's truly incredible.
Absolutely. Now, I think we need to go into a little bit more detail about what specifically happened here. It starts out with a bunch of actors dressed as miners. They're just in like the orange reflective jumpsuits, standing on this ramp, and there's a big screen outside. This is like the outside, right in front of the entrance of the tunnel, and they're just kind of doing kind of a choreographed march, whatever. There's kind of a strange, like, rhythmic drum beat to how they're marching. So you're listening to this sound, and you're like, all right, that's kind of odd. I don't know why they're doing this, but whatever.
Right.
It's still, your conspiracy radar hasn't been triggered at that point. But then they aligned facing each other in this quasi-military formation, and then they begin just doing this massive improvised, like, writhing dance, just thrashing their limbs around, stripping off their clothes, and everyone's in their underwear. Like, okay.
All right, so they went from 0 to 100 real quick.
Oh, it's not up to 100 yet. We're like at 75 right now. Right now, you're probably still thinking, oh, this is just some weird performance art thing.
This is some European bullshit. That's what most Americans would think.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that the choreographer for this event, a German theater producer named Volker Hess, has kind of a reputation for doing this sort of thing. This kind of very bizarre, abstract theater. But, again, this is not what you expect to see at the opening of a major, what should be a major landmark. And again, it crossed from being mere performance art into being a bizarre occult ritual very quickly. Shortly after the people begin stripping their clothes off, strange images appear on the screen. So a few of the miners still in their clothes are pulled up on lines, almost as if they're scaling the rocks, and they fall down. And 9 of them do this in total. And these are to represent the 9 miners that were killed in the construction of this tunnel. And those actors are replaced by 9 actors wearing white robes who are kind of floating around on strings, suspended above the performance. Very, very strange. Kind of ascending into heaven.
Right.
But wait, we're still not at 100 yet. We're only at 85. Because after this, there's a big release of smoke from machines on the side of the stage. And the whole time this is happening, there's people with, there's like a trombone section and people playing bagpipes and just all out of tune. It's very bizarre and
it's very dark.
Sounding. Yeah.
And it's got that, like we discussed before, the Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes, it's
sacrifice
like,
drum.
It's like the sacrifice to Kali in Raiders in the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And then in the big explosion of smoke, a bunch of figures that weren't there before appear, and they start marching down the ramp. And you see a bunch of them dressed as angels spreading their wings out. And in the center, behind, in the midst of them, you see what appears to be a giant goat head on top of someone. It's like Baphomet is trotting down the ramp on his cloven feet. And
this is the part where people's jaws kind of drop.
Yeah, when we were watching this, everything up to this point, there was some plausible deniability. There was like, okay, the guy's just a fucking weirdo. It's some performance art, abstract BS. I don't know what's going on. Whatever. You can write it off up to this point. This is the point where even some of our friends who were not into conspiracy theories at all were just like, what the fuck? What is the possible explanation for this?
Exactly.
This is the part where the crowd disperses. The crowd on the ramp disperses, and everyone starts panicking because Baphomet has appeared, and the actor playing the goat devil has this crazed look on his face, and he has a microphone on, and he's never actually saying anything. He's just screaming like, and everyone's running in a panic from him, and the music is getting more feverish and intense, and suddenly the music halts, and it's just him screaming, and then everyone bows down before him. And the smoke clears, and then they proceed into the tunnel.
This isn't just symbolism anymore. This is blatant satanic worship.
Yeah, and there's the images on the screen in the background while all this is going on. You see this giant portal of eyes. You know, obviously there's the all-seeing eye imagery. A lot of people drew that parallel there.
Right, with the Illuminati.
Yeah, yep. Eye of Horus, whatever you want to call it. There, at one point, there was a face, and it was the same face as the actor playing Baphomet on the screen, just like screaming, like rah, rah, just a close-up of him, and there's 3 scarab beetles hovering there in front of him. And some people, there were some theories that this was some sort of inversion of the Holy Trinity, is mocking the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, because that's the whole purpose of these overt rituals. It's mockery. Mm-hmm. It's
right. It's a perversion of the mass.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe after all that they had a ribbon cutting ceremony. I don't know. The camera cut off at that point, but it's not over. It's not over, because there was a second set of bleachers inside the tunnel, and they marched inside and continued the show there. Those people were treated to. More the whole group of people we just mentioned formed a procession and marched inside one by one, and it started out normal and just got weirder and weirder and weirder as it progressed. What else do you recall from that part of the ritual, Will?
Well, it's also important to note that there were spectators too. There were bleachers, and we can only rumor to guess who were sitting at these bleachers front row. These looked like the Monopoly men type, the titans of industry, the high-level bankers. Who knows? Presidents.
You are not too far from the truth.
Exactly.
Sir, you hit the nail right on the head. I did some digging on this today, and guess who was in attendance? Chancellor Angela Merkel of Germany.
Wow.
President Francois Hollande of France and Italian Prime Minister Matteo Renzi were all in attendance. And there you go. I mean, you called it right there. It figures all those countries border where Switzerland, where this tunnel is. It's not too surprising that they would be there. But isn't it interesting that they show up for a ceremony like this?
Right.
And, you got to know there was a Rothschild or two thrown in there somewhere.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm sure there were multiple Americans that were there as well.
A few Rockefellers and
exactly
Vanderbilts or what have you.
A couple of Carnegie members as well, I'm sure.
Bill Gates was probably watching from a live web feed, private web feed, just going to him. I got to say, speaking of the Rothschilds, this is probably pretty tame compared to what goes on at their private parties. We've all seen Eyes Wide Shut. We know what goes on there. But, this, once it got inside, they actually moved part of the performance onto train cars.
Right.
Itself. And there was kind of these actors dressed as still in uniform, in the reflective orange uniforms, pushing the train cars. We can only assume they were the Illuminati eunuch manservants pushing the performance.
That's correct. Pushing the trains of industry, or pushing various. There's tons of symbolism here, but It's also interesting to note too their zombie-like appearance. Their eyes are wide open, looking straight forward, no emotion whatsoever.
Yeah,
Just
they all had this cold, stiff look on their face, and they're marching in this rhythmic manner to the beat of drums. And this is where we saw the angel appear. This topless woman wearing a giant white baby head.
wearing a diaper as well.
Yeah, wearing a diaper suspended on cables with wings, giant wings on her hands, floating above the ground. And there's miners dropping at her feet. And perhaps this represents the angel of death coming to claim the 9 dead miners. I don't know what's going on. It's hard to know what the fuck is going on during this whole thing. We're just theorizing based on our research with previous events like this. But again, this one's pushing the envelope. Like, this is really...
It's totally absurd.
It's a tier above any other performance they've put on so far.
But I think this is like crossing the line in the sand for this type of open fuck you to not only the free world but Christianity and free peoples everywhere. This is intense.
Yeah, I think that's the intent of these kind of spectacles. Is it's just kind of a giant middle finger to anyone who has like a normal sense of morals or sensibilities that do not accommodate these sort of things. It's just a giant. This is what we believe. This is what we can do, and there's not a thing you can do about it. That I think is the intended message behind this thing. They're just reveling in their transgressiveness.
Now, do you think that they found something underneath the Swiss Alps, and do you think it's connected to the CERN project?
That's a great question. There was some speculation about this because, 17 years to build a tunnel, really? 17 years. Now, granted, that is a massive tunnel they built. I'm not disputing that. But, you have to wonder, what they could have found anything down there. There could, I was watching this thinking, perhaps they unleashed some entombed Babylonian demon underneath the mountains there, and they were all making this giant offering, this giant performance as an offering to it, to appease it. But, it's possible it has some connection to the CERN project as well, yeah. For people who don't know what CERN is, Will, fill them in on that.
CERN is a organization and scientific project which is also located in Switzerland, and part of what they are involved in is involving a piece of machinery called a
It's the Large Hadron Collider.
Hadron Collider.
I always read it as Hard-On Collider, but
that's what I was looking at right now.
I have a filthy mind, so continue.
Right. And basically, people are speculating that this piece of equipment can not only conjure up portals to different universes, but has the ability to transport people to different universes and transport entities from universes into ours.
Yeah.
So, could these two events be connected? I don't know. Is there some sort of portal in this tunnel that was built? Who knows? This is just disturbing that in the small country of Switzerland, we have these two gigantic events that could, in fact, be connected.
Yeah, it's the official story with CERN is that I think it's like it's a particle accelerator. It's like a giant atom smasher. Those might be two different things. I don't know. I'm not a physicist, but it's a particle accelerator, and that's where they discovered the Higgs boson, like the God particle, and made these huge breakthroughs in physics. Apparently, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on there, but there was a lot of bizarre occult rumors about what CERN is supposed to be for. A lot of those were connected to those September 23rd, 2015 rumors that were going around last year.
Right.
There's a giant statue of Shiva on the CERN facility for some reason.
And what's the other interesting fact about CERN, too, involving the internet?
CERN was their website was actually the first website ever created on the internet. It's like CERN.something.info. Or I can't remember the exact address, but that is the first website address ever. Kind of an odd coincidence, but the primary controversy with CERN is that they were conducting all kinds of bizarre experiments there that were like opening portals into other dimensions and releasing demons into the world. It's supposedly the site is located on the same site as an ancient Roman temple to the god Apollyon, which is one of those Greco-Roman deities that over time became associated with Lucifer as Christianity began to take over. But it's just basically it's like the storyline of Doom. They were screwing around with wormholes and opened up a portal into hell. That's the rumor with CERN, and it's interesting that this same facility is located not far at all from this town, Erstfeld, Switzerland, where this ceremony took place a few days ago.
And it's interesting that you have this type of wormhole symbolism present at the ceremony as well, with the ending Stargate-like device, which is
absolutely.
It's got like twirling lights and eyeballs, and like we said, fire and brimstone CGI imagery in the background. It's truly disturbing.
Yeah, in fact, we were talking about Babylonian religious themes earlier, and that is, I think, what the etymology of the word Babylon. It means something like gate of the gods or something like that. So it's a lot of these common threads you see as you dig deeper into this stuff. A lot of these same sort of religious motifs keep appearing again and again with these occult rituals that are leaked to major events and global elites. A couple, only a few weeks prior to this, we kept hearing about the destruction of the temple at Palmyra by ISIS in Syria, and
right.
As kind of the official story goes, kind of a protest to that, they constructed a replica of the arch of this temple in London. It's currently on display there. This arch is the front entrance of the Temple of Baal, the Assyrian, I believe, fertility god there. So there's a giant, Assyrian/Sumerian deities archway erected in a major city. There were rumors that it was going to be moved to New York. I don't think that's happened yet. That could be BS. I don't know. I'm still researching that. But it's just there seems to be kind of a increasing boldness and audacity with this stuff.
Right. They're trying to make this the new norm. This type of pagan ritual ceremonies, and again, we're going to see this type of stuff in the United States as well, and it's going to be protected by mostly liberals who are saying, "Oh, let's celebrate this kind of activity because they're different, and they're lesbians, and we need to hear them and celebrate their voices." And no, but that's how they're going to protect it, and as we know in the United States, one of our freedoms is freedom of speech and the right to protest. So we have the ability to let these types of ceremonies happen, and unfortunately, there's not a lot we can do about it.
Well, I think that's part of the reason this happened in Europe and not in the United States, is that Switzerland is not very religious. It's an awful lot of people on the census who put down that they're atheists on here. So it's unlikely there would be a lot of public protests about something like this, even something as vulgar and overt as this.
Do you think
I think it definitely raised a lot of eyebrows. People were kind of like, "What the fuck is this?" when they saw it, and there was a lot of comments on social media about this, but there were no there wasn't outcry about this. If something like this happened in the United States, there's still so many church-going people here that I think they'd be genuinely upset by it. They would be demanding an explanation.
That's the thing. There has still yet to be a real explanation as to why there's such grotesque symbolism in this performance, and I think you're
processions of goat heads, and that part only happened in the tunnel part,
right.
There was also a mock orgy on top of one of the train cars. There were the people in the
Right.
underwear that we mentioned earlier. They all started humping each other.
Yeah,
And,
I mean,
it's just part of one of the, going back to Babylon, one of the rituals in honor of the goddess Ishtar was ritual orgies, was a form of worship of her. She was the goddess of sex, fertility, and war. Interesting combination. And something about Ishtar I will link back to in a few minutes. But go ahead, I cut you off there.
no, I'm just, I think that the New World Order and the Illuminati is using Switzerland as kind of a testing ground. And, there hasn't been that much outcry about this. So perhaps maybe we'll see something as bold as this ceremony in another larger European continent or country. Do you think that that's something that could happen in 2017?
Probably. I think the next big one of these things we're going to see is the opening Olympics at the Rio Games.
See, that would be bold because Brazil is a very religious country and they're Roman Catholic.
Yeah, Brazil is pretty strongly Catholic country. I mean, it's not to say they abide by it strictly, but it's people are still very Catholic there. There's also a large and growing evangelical Christian community in Brazil.
Right.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether or not there's something that overt there. I would guess probably no. I think because this I mean, in spite of the fact that this was a major event, it's still kind of obscure compared to the Olympic opening ceremony. Not as many people are going to be paying attention to it.
Right.
But again, I don't think something like this could have flown in the U.S. Things this vulgar do happen here, but I think it's behind closed doors.
Right.
Bohemian Grove.
Absolutely.
Need I say more? I mentioned Ishtar earlier. If you look at the statues of Ishtar from ancient Babylon, the Queen of Night relief, you see the two owl guardians standing on either side of her. What are they making a giant burnt offering to at Bohemian Grove? A giant owl. Coincidence? I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Some of the comments online and some of the people critiquing the ceremony actually are calling the flying demon baby thing an owl.
It could be,
because they're noting that it had these large feathered arms, and the head kind of looks like an owl. So
yeah,
again we have this Moloch
fat
symbolism.
round head. Yeah, exactly. And everyone just rolls their eyes and says, "Oh, you guys are crazy," but there's nothing to see here. It's just a bunch of it's all the global elites, watching this bizarre, disgusting ritual on the train tracks in Switzerland. Oh, nothing to see here. Stop being a crazy conspiracy theorist. All the presidents and CEOs all gathering at a hidden place in the woods every Midsummer's Eve and making burnt offerings to an owl and dressing up as satyrs and prancing through the forest with pan flutes and fucking each other in the butt. It's all in your head. Stop being a conspiracy theorist.
It's true, though. It's true.
Amazing. People will stick their head in the sands and act like everything's fine. It's just performance art. What's the big thing? Next thing you know, they're getting 666 stamped on their hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And microchips put in everybody's forehead or hand.
That could be a more efficient way of doing it.
I believe that's what will happen. Banking will be completely controlled on a human level, and the New World Order will be able to shut off your bank account if you do not become involved in the New World Order religion.
I could see Mr. Gates performing or proposing an idea like that.
I mean, that's the ultimate way of control. Think about that, a microchip inside every single person, and they could just
Oh.
Self-destruct you. They could turn you off. They could send a virus into you that would have you dead in minutes.
Yeah.
Think about total control.
I can see if Hillary wins, I see her proposing something like that. It won't be sold that way, though. It'll be pitched as like the Hillary Care Health Smart chip to monitor your vitals, and information's forwarded to your healthcare provider to
exactly. All you have to do is swipe your arm here, and the hospital has all your information.
Yeah, exactly. And if you forget to pay your income taxes, it releases a neurotoxin into your bloodstream, and takes care of you that way. Yeah.
Or if you decide to, think certain thoughts, all of a sudden you're nauseous and drive off a cliff or something like that.
Yeah. But there's no need to be afraid, people. No need to be afraid. All you need to do is bow down before the giant prancing goat demon in Switzerland, and you will be saved. So,
and keep watching Kardashians.
Exactly. Stop asking questions.
Consume.
Fucked up.
It is.
It's fucked up. But we hope you enjoyed our analysis of this perversity taking place in the Alps, this yodeling debauchery and blasphemy occurring in this historic event. We will be tracking this story as it develops. I'm sure there's going to be more stuff that comes out about this over the next few weeks. So we'll cover that in our next podcast. And we did discuss this briefly in the opening of our most recent podcast, which was about the rampant underground pedophile culture in Hollywood. And that is available only on our official podcast, which is on iTunes and available at falseflagnation.com. So definitely check that out.
Absolutely.
Will, anything else you want to throw in here before we sign off?
Look, guys, if you haven't seen the video, check it out. I mean, the video says it all. You don't have to listen to us. You can listen to us for the commentary afterwards. But if your jaw doesn't drop about 3 minutes into this film, I don't know what would shock you. So please do check out the video. It's completely disturbing, and we're looking forward to see if the mainstream media has the balls to cover this type of event. So again, check out the website, check out the podcast, and don't forget to subscribe as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Follow us on Twitter at False Flag Nation. Like us on Facebook, and check us out on iTunes. It's just search False Flag Nation and subscribe. Leave us a rating. And if you don't have iTunes, just go to falseflagnation.com and check out the main website. You can download the episodes there. But that is all for this emergency transmission. We will see you in the next episode. Thanks so much, folks.
Take care, guys.
Adios. Stay vigilant.